Holy shit! Oh.
Let's go. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. No one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors, no one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors.
Well, that is our official I Train UFC bro moment for this week.
We're switching around the format a little bit. We're trying some things different, and the cold opening always, instead of being like tremendous MMA moments, they just end up being some idiot getting hurt. So we're actually calling it the I Train UFC bro moment. That guy in his garage trying to break boards like the Karate Kid. He's our inaugural I Train UFC bro.
Well put.
He's our first bro.
Bro,
I Train UFC bro.
Please let's move on.
Anyway, we got some format changes. Of course, I'm your elected official, Albert Cameron. Beside me, as always, is the Prime Minister's soul, Mr. Drew Shannon himself, the golden voice of the Center Region.
Yo.
Well, Drew, how you been?
Good. How you been?
Fantastic. I think we had some big things go down this week in combat sports. I'm really looking forward to...
and then some.
And then some. I'm really looking forward to breaking that all down. So, what do you say we get right into it?
Do we want to get right into it? Are we going to a break, or are we going to get right into it?
I think we should get right into it. I think one of the biggest things that has affected all of us, especially in the Altoona State College Allegheny region, is Jessica I getting the suspension.
Well, I don't think it's just this area. I think it's Jessica I fans, supporters across the nation.
Sure.
Of course, when the news first broke, all the way now let's rewind all the way back to last Saturday.
Okay, is that when they hit the fan?
February 1st, it all started when Jessica I and Sarah Kaufman's fight decision at UFC 166 was overturned to a no decision.
Okay, now that fight happened October 19th.
That is correct.
That fight happened October 19th, and it took them all of November, 10 days in October, and then all of December, all of January.
It took them a few months to decide to...
3.5 months to decide that, hey, this fight was a no contest.
Right.
So, I think you...
I'm kind of at a loss to understand why it took as long as it did for them to render this decision.
Well, with any fight, there's a pre-fight blood test, and I think there's a post-fight drug test.
Right.
To try to catch cycling for performance-enhancing drugs. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not familiar with how it's done.
Right.
But in the circle of guys who take PEDs, you can actually cycle what you take, what you eat, what you consume, so that you can get the benefits of performance-enhancing drugs and have it not show up in a post-fight drug test. I have no reason to believe that Jessica I was doing anything shady.
Okay, well, let's fast forward to this. Was it Monday or Tuesday when this news broke?
Monday, I think.
It was the beginning of the week when the news broke from out of nowhere. Headlines were splashed all across the internet that Jessica I failed a drug test, and hence the overturning of the decision.
I get a text from Cass that says Jessica I suspended until 2015. I'm still like half foot in 2013, so that sounds like forever.
Right. Well, yeah. When I got the text about that, I was like, "Where did you hear this from?" And lo and behold, it's all over the internet. Now, being the internet, of course, everyone jumped all over this. And
everything is right, too, because it's the internet. Everything we put out there is factual and actual. Actual factual.
Actual factual.
Actual factual.
Yeah. Bullshit. It's the internet. I can do that. It's not like we're on ABC 23 anymore.
Right.
No, seriously. So the minute the story hits, everybody immediately jumps all over Jessica I. How could you do this? I can't believe this. I seriously can't believe that someone that she would actually do this.
Right.
Because everybody automatically thought it was a performance-enhancing drug.
Well, that wasn't the case at all.
Well, let's get to that. Jessica comes out on Twitter, says, hey, I wasn't suspended. I didn't fail a drug test. This will all be resolved. I'm still fighting on the 22nd of February. Later on, a few hours later, Bleacher Report reports that UFC has confirmed that Jessica Ai has been suspended, but it's a probationary suspension. She will still be able to fight on the 22nd at UFC 170. And several sources, and this has been confirmed now, I believe, that it was a blood thinner that Jessica Ai has been taking since she was 16 after being involved in a car accident when I believe the vehicle she was in was hit by a drunk driver.
The reports I heard, and again, I'm not sure how accurate this is, the reports I heard was what flagged the drug test was TDLR.
Okay.
Now, the sources I talked to and reached out to, I'm not sure what the effects of TDLR are, but it makes sense. If we're talking about a blood thinner, we're talking about a chemical that alters blood content.
Right.
And that, I mean, easily that could trip a blood test, especially because if it were Veda testing, and I'm not sure what that is, but Veda testing is a degree of anti-blood doping. And blood thinners could certainly mix all that up.
Right.
SureDog.com confirmed today that Jessica Ai will still fight Sarah Kaufman on February 22nd.
Not Sarah Kaufman.
Sarah McMahon. Alexis Davis.
Read your notes.
She fought Sarah Kaufman. She'll still be fighting Alexis Davis.
Right. You're going to catch hell for that one.
Oh, yes, I am. Yeah. But she also got a hefty fine.
Yes, she did.
Like $1,875, I think?
Yeah, $1,875.
Which, I mean, in the grand scheme of UFC paydays, that doesn't seem like a lot, but you got to figure how many times has Jessica Ai fought this year?
Once.
Exactly. So, I mean, when you're fighting for like a $30,000 purse, I mean, 1 or 2 fights is your whole yearly income. So, I mean, $1,800, I mean, that hurts, especially when you're trying to pay for a training camp
now
this close to a fight time.
Now, here's my question, though.
Yeah.
I mean, she got the win, so she got the larger amount of money from
She would have got the win purse, yes.
She would have got the win purse. Okay, now that this match has been declared a no decision...
Texas could come back and demand it back. They could, because same thing happened with Pat Healy.
Okay.
When he had all those drugs in his system, they took the win purse back.
Right.
And he had to pay the fine on top of it. I think he ended up having to pay $100,000. I have not heard if they're doing that.
I know that she's appealing the decision as well.
As she should.
Yeah.
I mean, as she should. I mean, if it's a blood thinner that she's had to take since she was 16, that is clearly a life-saving alteration. Mm-hmm. Like, that's clearly something she needs to do. And the fact that she's a great competitor now. So, you got to wonder, what is Texas doing different than Ohio has not been doing?
Right.
Because, I mean, she's been fighting in Ohio for the NAAFS, fighting for Bellator. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she's fought in some pretty significant professional fights, and everything's been fine. Everything's been kosher.
Right. Until
she goes and fight in Texas, and now Texas, 3.5 months later, says, no, now we have a problem.
Right.
So,
but yeah, she is planning to appeal, and I mean, this couldn't come at a worse time for her.
Right before. I mean,
her father is getting ready. Her father is going under treatment right now for a form of cancer.
Right.
For a form of brain cancer, and we wish. I mean, Jess, if you're watching, we wish you and your dad very well. We hope that he comes through with flying colors.
Absolutely.
And seems like a fighter. You two have a great relationship, and we know where you got your the fight in you from.
Exactly.
So we just hope that everything goes well with that. That being said,
we're also 16 days away from fight day.
Right. So there's a lot of pressure going on. So this has got. I mean, I did see a Facebook post today though from her on her personal account that said she is, in just one word, focused. So, I mean. Is she going to let this get her down? No. Things like this are going to fuel the fire that is inside her, and she's going to go out there and she's going to give it all she's got. So
the record says one thing. The Texas overturning that record says the fight is now a no contest. Before that happened, I still believe that Jessica Ai won that fight.
Right.
I mean, say what you want about the fight. I saw it. I thought her entire game plan, her strategy was great. So I really hope that Jessica's carrying that into her fight with Alexis Davis instead of letting Texas bring her down.
Right.
I mean, because this is aside from the bad pun, this is really a Texas-sized problem.
Well, if anything, too, like I said, this ruling from Texas should also serve as a motivator too. You know, because she's got, I mean, now more than ever, she's got something to prove, and like I said, it could motivate her to just to win the fight.
Yeah, I mean. I have to think that Alexis Davis may be on the business end of an ass kicking, especially with carrying all that into the fight with you.
Yeah.
Or it could go the completely other way.
Right.
I mean, it could completely weigh her down. We've seen that happen before too. With that all being said, Drew, I am such a big fan of MMA in the Keystone State that I have to believe that if it would have happened in Pennsylvania, Greg Serb would have not let it take 3.5 months for this to happen. I mean, because Pennsylvania does overrule fights. It's happened. It's happened before. I don't think it would have taken 3.5 months, and that's why I'm a big fan of the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission.
Here, you want chapstick? Give that back.
Thank you. Anyway. But I'm just saying, like, in Pennsylvania, is bad. I think whenever they overturned the UFC fight, it happened, like, the next day or a week later.
Right.
You know, that's just kind of that stuff that happens. So, as much as, you know, people are afraid of getting served, I mean, because, you know, that's vernacular here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen plenty of guys get served. And you know, but in the sake of fairness, though, too, as tough as Greg Serb can be on a fighter and a fight result, he's also equally as fair.
Right.
So. Well, we go from Jessica I and that drama to celebrity boxing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call this guy a celebrity, to be perfectly honest. I mean, somebody who commits crimes is not a celebrity. They are a felon. They are, I mean, well, okay, now he's proved not guilty. Okay,
right. Now, and the American judicial system says he's guilty until proven not guilty by a jury of his peers.
Right.
The jury of his peers said not guilty. However, do we consider George Zimmerman a celebrity?
I don't consider him a celebrity.
I don't either. Probably for the past 2 years, Drew, we've had to hear about this knucklehead for his involvement in a shooting death, and you never want to hear about someone being gunned down, especially a young person. And you know, if the situation could have been reversed, where Zimmerman and Martin could have been in an okay state, I mean, I think we would prefer that as opposed to anyone dying.
Right.
That being said, well then later on we hear about this knucklehead smacking his wife around. Well, who wants to hear? I mean, does those two things in my book do not get you notoriety?
No.
Or not get you fame.
They don't give you fame. They give you notoriety.
Okay.
Right.
So that being said, he openly challenges DMX.
He didn't openly challenge DMX. What he did was he issued an open challenge, period, to anyone that would fight him in a celebrity boxing match. DMX just happened to say, "All right, I'll go in and I'll beat his ass."
He did promise. He said, and I quote, "I will beat his ass."
Now, here's the thing. Have you heard about this yet?
What part?
About who's going to ref the fight.
Is it Reverend Al Sharpton?
I went online today while I was at work, and I was just scanning through some show prep, looking for some rock news, and we get the celebrity updates and stuff like that.
Right.
Floyd Mayweather. They want to ref the bout. Now, nothing has been officially signed yet, but Floyd Mayweather, it looks like, is shown interest in refereeing the bout.
Oh, well...
This is not going to be a fight. This is going to be a literal beatdown. There's going to be... This is... I mean... I could see Floyd Money Mayweather turning his back and letting DMX do an old curb stomp on Zimmerman. I mean, seriously.
Well... as of like right now, it's Thursday right now, we're taping. You guys are probably seeing this on Sunday. As of right now, nothing official has been signed.
Right.
No contract is in place, no bout agreement, no purse agreement.
At the time of this taping, nothing has been official.
However, in the next couple of days leading up to Sunday, everything could be signed. I know this has nothing to do with mixed martial arts, but I think in the world of combat sports, I think I'd like to see it.
Right.
To be honest with you, if I find out it's on like Fox or whatever channel, I think I'm going to tune in.
I don't think I'm going to, because I think I'm going to have something better to do than to watch George Zimmerman on my television at all. I
think he's been on our TVs enough in the past 2 years.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think you should. I don't think anybody should watch this fight. If it is on Fox, if it is televised, I encourage you people. I mean, I know curiosity is going to get the best of you. We live in a reality television age where we need to see everything that goes on. Take a look at Facebook. Everybody posts everything that's going on in their lives. The one thing long story short, I don't think this guy needs any more publicity or notoriety than he has already received.
When it comes down to it, George Zimmerman has been said that he trains boxing as like an exercise, like a fitness regime.
He needs to train how to keep a low profile is what he needs to do.
Exactly. So George Zimmerman is trained boxing to keep like a fitness regimen. I don't think his cardio boxing is going to save him from a DMX ass beating. I think that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see DMX introduce his knuckles through the back of the guy's head. Not because I dislike him, but I think that the fact that he took the chutzpah to challenge anyone to celebrity boxing, one, you're not a celebrity.
Right.
Okay? Two, Albert Cameron's no one to point the fitness finger.
And you're not Jewish either, so I don't know where you pulled the chutzpah from, but by God, that was good.
Two, Albert Cameron's not one to point the fitness finger, but, you know, DMX or Zimmerman, okay?
Yeah.
You know, like really just keep a low profile. Let the world forget about you. You're going to be much happier that way.
Right.
So, I mean, that is what that is.
That's it. I'm not watching the fight, but I pray to God that George Zimmerman gets his ass beat and we never have to hear from him again.
Just so you can learn your place in the world where, you know, being involved in the shooting, that does not make you a celebrity. You have no grounds to say anything about celebrity boxing.
Right. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take a time out. We'll be back in just a few with the rest of the news, I guess.
Yeah, part of the new format. We're trying it out. We're just doing topics, things that are pertinent, and then we still get the Cameron Underground coming up. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Drew.
What?
We've done it.
What have we done?
The MMA Rundown went for 31 episodes. Okay?
Okay.
If you count all of our normal episodes and all the recap episodes, we're at 37.
So we are no longer the MMA Rundown guys who are doing a new YouTube show. We are the Cage Nation TV guys who used to be on the MMA Rundown.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, friend. Coming back, we're going to come back. We've got more to talk about, and then we got the Cameron Underground right here on Cage Nation TV.
Stick around. I'll watch that grip.
Don't worry about remote signal blockage again. Introducing the Top Mount. This low-profile shelf is perfect for placing your cable box where you can use it. The easy-to-install lightweight shelf is designed to fit behind almost any flat screen TV, with or without a wall mount. The Top Mount is perfect for easy access to cable boxes, game consoles, and DVD players. Don't have your signal blocked again. Order your Top Mount today at thetopmount.com.
Welcome back to Cage Nation TV. Albert Cameron, Drew Shannon. We're going over some of the hot topics of the week, the news of the week. And, well, this kind of goes into not only MMA circles, but this also goes into professional wrestling circles as well. And no, it does not involve Brock Lesnar, at least...
Finally!
No. We don't have any Brock Lesnar news at all, although...
But how are we going to talk about his sweet chest tattoo that does not look phallic whatsoever?
I will say this, there are rumors that he may...
Dana White has said no.
I thought Dana White... I saw something that said Dana White was open to it.
At one point he was open to it, but I think I just saw a headline that says, Dana White says as of right now, he is not leaving the WWE to come back to the UFC.
Okay.
So,
but Dana would welcome him back with open arms.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably
former heavyweight champion, sure, why not? Come on back.
Sure. All right.
All right.
Okay, but that's not the wrestler we're talking about.
No.
And
it's not Dave Bautista either.
No, it's not Dave Bautista. Batista's back in the WWE. And here we go with celebrities again in the MMA world. Although, I don't know if would you call him a celebrity?
Not anymore. I mean, if it were 1995, maybe.
Jason David Frank wants to take on Phil Brooks in an MMA bout. Now, you may not know either of those names if I say them like that. But if I said the Green Power Ranger from the Power Rangers...
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And this guy...
CM Punk.
Then you'd know who the hell I was talking about.
Exactly. I saw the one yesterday, the day before. Jason David Frank, who's famous. Jason David Frank is famous for being the Green Ranger, then the White Ranger, and then the Red Ranger, and then the Black... I can't even keep track of it.
How in God's name do you know all this?
Because I spent a lot of time in the front of the TV as a child.
Wow, Sandy Frank was good to you.
So, Jason David Frank, Tommy the Green Ranger, as some of us may know him.
Wait, is there a relation to Sandy Frank and Jason David Frank?
I have no idea.
Because didn't Sandy Frank, weren't they the ones that helped produce the Power Ranger shows? I'll have to look into that. Anyways, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So
I was having a dorkgasm. I'm sorry.
Okay, so well, let's set the greater stage. I think we talked about this last week.
Okay.
CM Punk comes into a meeting at the WWE Creative.
Well, I don't even think we talked about that because I said I don't even want to talk about it. This week we'll talk about it.
Right. Okay. CM Punk goes into a meeting with Vince McMahon for a creative meeting. blah, 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 angry words.
It wasn't even a creative meeting.
It was just a meeting about
Punk wanted to meet him. Punk was pretty upset about the direction of his character, and the way.
So technically a creative meeting.
Technically, and Punk more or less says,
I'm going home.
I'm going home. He hops a flight to Chicago, and that's it. The entire wrestling world sits back and says, okay, he'll be back next week. Everybody thought it was a shoot, or everybody thought it was a work, or what, is known as storyline.
Kayfabe.
Apparently, it has turned, the information coming out of pro wrestling circles and all that, it's a shoot or real life. He actually did leave the company.
He'll be back in a week, came and went, 2 weeks, about a week ago.
Yeah.
About a week ago. So CM Punk, Phil Brooks, we might as well start calling him if this fight goes through. CM Punk says, I'm going home. He has not been back. CM Punk is actually a very avid practitioner in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, he is.
I think he's a Gracie affiliate.
He is. If you've ever seen WWE when he's come down in his in his zip hoodie, he's got the Gracie logo.
Gracie Baja.
Yeah, on the back, and I think there's one on the chest there. So yeah, he's huge, and I believe he was actually in a training video or some sort of video with the Gracies.
Okay, from what I've heard, CM Punk is very, very good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has thrown around a couple of high-ranking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. However, CM Punk will not take an official Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ranking through one personal preference or another, or he's a very upstanding moral kind of guy.
Right.
So for one reason or another, he doesn't believe in the ranking system, and that's why he's, we can't say he's a blue belt or he's a purple belt. But he's done the work, he's rolled, he's done the mat work. So what's the next logical step for someone who's no longer involved in pro wrestling when they have that sort of passion behind them?
You go to MMA.
You go to MMA. I mean, not saying it's an easy transition, but I mean, for someone who's spent so much time, practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and being a fan of the mixed martial arts the way he has,
right.
It seems like that would be the next logical step to take.
Right, but you just don't jump into it.
No, I mean
that's you. I mean,
right. I mean, as much as as much as I love professional wrestlers, and I'm a very big fan of former AON heavyweight champion Sherrod Hall. He's very, very talented in the ring. I don't think Sherrod Hall would be able to jump from professional wrestling and then stepping foot into an MMA cage.
Right.
I mean, it's just not always do those kind of things just kind of work. When Dave Bautista fought in MMA, I mean, he didn't look as naturally smooth as what other MMA fighters are. So it just doesn't always happen that way. However, you do the leg work, you do the groundwork. Sometimes those transitions are easier for some than for others. Right.
I mean, and I wound up having to go on a bit of a defense in pro wrestling circles this week. Of course, the whole "it's fake" came around again, rearing its lovely head. Both worlds. I mean, yes, pro wrestling storylines scripted. We know the outcome. Predetermined. MMA, two guys go in, fight, and it's not predetermined. There is a legitimate winner and a legitimate loser.
Those kind of arguments are just really, really getting sort of tiresome for me. They really are.
Now, I know, and I hate, it's going to sound like a broken record, but in both worlds, both realms, professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, there is a level of training involved. These guys...
Physical demand, too.
Physical demand, these guys are athletes. I have seen, in MMA, I've seen George Shepard get knocked unconscious to the point where he didn't remember even setting foot in the cage.
I don't think he knew what day it was.
Flipping over to pro wrestling, I've seen independent wrestler Colin Blair get knocked unconscious, have a concussion, and not even know where he was at the time. So the risks are pretty much the same as far as injury is concerned.
Right.
So, to say that the moves are choreographed, the storylines are scripted, yes. But as far as the action is concerned, it is just as dangerous, it is just as risky as stepping foot into the MMA cage.
I've seen boring wrestling matches, but I've also seen incredibly boring fights.
Right.
So,
moving on from that, I'll
get off
the soapbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
get the nosebleed.
I remember the first time I ever heard, hey, the Green Ranger was in an MMA fight. I didn't believe it.
Right.
I did not believe it. But then I see the fight. I mean,
with what, a giant beast over the city of Tokyo?
Oh no, not even. I mean, like he comes to the cage. He's all tatted up now. You think you remember Tommy the Green Ranger, like, you know, kind of a baby-faced kid.
Yeah.
You know, like he was the bad guy for a couple episodes against like the good-looking good guy. Well, now he's like all tatted up, and he's legit. I mean, he was a traditional martial artist when he was on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but now he's done very well getting into mixed martial arts. He's only had 4 fights, I think, 3 amateur fights and 1 pro fight, but those are still 4 fights more than what CM Punk has had.
Right.
That aside, I think I would watch that fight.
I would too.
I would not only watch that fight, but I would try to get a hold of World Series of Fighting, because that's the venue that Jason David Frank wants the fight to hold into.
That's what I've heard.
I would get a hold of the WSOF and say, I want to put that fight on the Cameron Underground. Just because, you know, like, I'm kind of a nerdy guy. You'd never know it.
No.
Yeah.
Not you.
No, true. Don't let all this cool machismo fool you.
No.
I was kind of nerdy. So, I mean, with that being said, I would totally watch the Green Ranger fight CM Punk. And I would hope that he would come down to the cage to the Go-Go Power Rangers theme.
Well, I would hope CM Punk would come down to Living Color's Cult of Personality.
We might need to get a hold of someone. I think we should probably be there if that fight happens.
We'd have to be there.
We'd
for
almost
that.
have to. I mean, we've nerded out so many times on this show that...
Now, it bears the question, and
Yes.
I think you're going to pose this: does the WWE's ironclad contracts prevent Punk from accepting a fight like this due to precedences like the likes of Dave Bautista and Brock Lesnar? My answer would be no.
Okay.
And here's why. Well, okay. Let me backtrack a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to think of the timeline here. If this was July and Punk said not re-signing, then no. This would not hold him back from going and fighting in mixed martial arts. I believe there's a no-compete.
I think it's 90-day no-compete after the contract expires.
Right, but I think that's for another wrestling organization.
Okay.
Now, I don't know that for sure. I've never seen a WWE contract in my life. God knows I've wanted to just to be a commentator or a manager, because I ain't wrestling. I ain't built for it.
No,
But
let me ask you this. When did CM Punk sign on to be involved in the WWE? 2006, 2007?
yes, I believe so.
When did Brock Lesnar leave?
Oh, God, I can't even remember when Lesnar left. Was it around the same time?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious. So, I mean, would the WWE contracts at the time that CM Punk signed on, would they have been prepared for a provision? Because I don't think anyone's ever gone from the WWE to the UFC and has had as much star power as what Brock Lesnar was.
Right.
If CM Punk's contract was not prepared for those sort of switches, because now I think UFC is kind of putting WWE's direct competition with the Fight Pass, the WWE Network. Like they're starting to get into the close proximity with each other. World Series of Fighting. If CM Punk, who was easily one of the most recognizable professional wrestlers in the world, I put him up there with a Hulk Hogan or a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
If you did not hear that he was fighting on a fight card, would you not pay money to go see it?
I would pay money to go
As
see
a
it.
professional wrestling fan who's had CM Punk shirts on for more episodes of the Cage Nation TV than I care to mention, would you not pay for pay-per-view to see CM Punk fight?
I don't know if I'd pay for it. I would chip in money to come over to your house and watch it.
Well, WSOF is actually on free cable of the NBC network.
Well, hell, we'd all be getting a gang together and watching a fight.
Okay, now thank you for proving my point. You just proved that, yes, there is an interest in seeing this guy fight.
Yeah.
So, I have to imagine that after Brock Lesnar, I have to think that WWE built their contracts to try to prevent jumping ship like that. Because, I mean, before, let's say prior to 2006, you never think of UFC as direct competition to WWE.
Yeah, but, okay, Dave Bautista left WWE 4 years ago, got into mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But Dave Bautista never trained MMA a moment in his life until he went to Coconut Creek, Florida, and trained with American Top Team.
Okay.
Like he really trained hard for his fight with Vince Lucero, but he just didn't okay, it's Tuesday, I'm done with WWE, I'm going to fight on Friday.
Well, right,
There's a significant amount of time between.
Right, I'm not saying and you know, I'm not saying that CM Punk is going to jump right into.
I think he could though.
He could, but I don't think he will, just because. I don't know. I mean, if his contract is up, I mean, if he does, I think if his contract legitimately expires and he does not re-sign, then he's free to do whatever he wants. If he's let go by the company, if he's fired for any reason whatsoever, that's when the 90-day no-compete probably would.
No, I think the 90-day no-compete still is involved at the end of a contract.
Would that still be involved?
I think so.
All right.
So I mean, his contract ends in July. Is he going to be in TNA the next day? No, I think he has a 90-day no-compete. My question is, would the WWE consider UFC as a part of that non-compete now, especially with everything that Brock Lesnar's done?
I don't think it would, because it's two different animals.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that a couple years ago until Brock Lesnar happened.
I don't know.
Brock Lesnar was in WWE, and then he wasn't. He fought a fight in Japan. The next thing you know, he's challenging for the UFC heavyweight title, and now he's legitimate in both circles, which I think CM Punk could be.
Right. If any of you guys out there that watch pro wrestling that have any knowledge of the sport or anything like that, or whatever, want to do a little research into WWE contracts, we'll look into it at some point. But let us know.
Mike Edwards, actually, I'm going to get a hold of you after the show. I want you to weigh in on it because I mean you have I think Mike Edwards is to pro wrestling is what Albert Cameron is to MMA, and I think that's what makes our friendship really, really beautiful.
And I've called Mike, Mike Edwards, TV's Mike Edwards is, and I gave him this name. He is the encyclopedia of professional wrestling.
Right. So I think we kind of stumbled on a great conversation here. So let's get those thoughts rolling. Of course, include them in the comments, Facebook, Twitter.
And here's the thing, Green Power Ranger outshadowed in this entire conversation by Phil Brooks.
Well, no,
I haven't really given much time to.
Well, between the two, I think Phil Brooks has more star power than what Jason David Frank does.
Right.
I mean, as a legit martial artist, as a legit traditional martial artist, I think in karate styles, I think Jason David Frank has the advantage. But I mean, as far as like ground fighting and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I don't think so. I think CM Punk has the advantage on all that.
Right.
But I mean, you get involved with the Gracie Baja. I mean, you kind of earn those chops you get because, I mean, I'm sure they're putting you through the ringer.
Now, could this kind of... Well, I think we pretty much answered our own question, or answered this question. I mean, would it bring, wrestling fans together into the MMA world? And I think that answer is obviously yes, because...
I think they'd watch it once. I can't say how many people... I can't say how many people would fall in love. Because, I mean, if there was going to be...
I would say that some might. If they gave it a chance, some might become regular viewers of World Series of Fighting. They might get into UFC, Bellator, whatever.
Right.
It's not for everyone, though.
No, I mean,
I think we've proven.
I've talked to many professional wrestling fans who just can't stand MMA, and I've talked to a lot of MMA fans who just hate professional wrestling.
Right.
So, I mean, I think...
This may bring us all together for one night and one night only.
Right. Well, I mean, like, you can't fool some of the people. You can fool some of the people all the time, but you can't fool all the people some... You can fool all the people some of the time. I think we'll come together once.
You can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. I
think we'll come together once. We make it a small fraction, a little bit of a percentage, but I don't think they're going to fall in love the way that would be like a big open arms come to Jesus kind of thing. If that was going to happen, I think it would have happened with Brock Lesnar already.
One small step for man, one giant leap for CM Punk.
Yeah, and for you haters of either one, the name is Carl Gotch. Look it up. We all MMA professional wrestling. We all owe him a big favor.
There you go.
A big thank you.
All right, finally we're going to wrap. Oh my
wow.
God.
That was good.
I need an oxygen tank. Dear God. Finally going to wrap up with some local news. Our good friend Ryan Glunt is returning to MMA at Gladiators of the Cage, May 3rd in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Glunt has not fought since July 2013?
July 19th, 2013, a day that shall... No, 2012.
You've got 2012 here. What was last year?
2013.
Yep.
July 19th, 2013, a day that shall forever live in infamy and without air conditioning.
Yeah. It was like a sauna. Literally.
It was hot.
I'm telling you what. I think I lost about 50 pounds and you destroyed a chair.
It's true. It happened. Ryan Glunt fought in the main event of a fight card that was going to hell in a handbasket in a hurry.
And boy, did he bring the crowd into it. I mean, what was it, 28 seconds? Something like that?
It was ridiculously short.
It was incredibly short.
Less than a minute. I know for certain it was less than a minute.
I know it was less than a minute.
Yeah, but, so Ryan Glunt fought Billy Ward at Complete Devastation MMA 6. said, okay, it's been fun, but I have a daughter on the way. I have some family obligations. I'm going to hang it up. That's great, that's being a family man is very, very honorable.
And you have to admire that.
You have to respect that.
You gotta respect that.
Well, then he's like, hey, you know what? I think I can fight though at Valley Fight League 42, and thank God he did because no one else was going to.
Right.
Let's just be honest. That's exactly what happened. So he fights. I'm drawing a blank.
Some guy that he beat up.
No, it was Matthew Dean. He fought Matthew Dean.
Yeah.
Okay, so he fights Matthew Dean, he wins, and we talked to him post-fight, he's like, I'm like, well, Goose, are you going to keep fighting? No, I think I'm going to hang it up. Well, Gladiators of the Cage is invading Johnstown, Drew. Pittsburgh is taking over the Flood City. The Steel City is coming to the Flood City, and Ryan Glunt has been tapped to fight Jeff Holmes.
It's going to be good.
Okay.
They're calling this, they're going to call the event Cage Wars.
I love that.
I love it.
I love it, too. I think we should get, 4 cages together, 16 guys fighting at once, but I think we both know that's never going to happen.
No, I see. You know what? We're going to go Cage Wars. I think we need stormtroopers lining the path.
Absolutely.
Call up the 501st and.
So
in a perfect world, yes, everything would be Star Wars. Damn it.
So Ryan Glunt's on the card. John Rarick's on the card.
Yep.
I know Charlie Gathers. I think is going to be on that card.
I was going to say Charlie Gathers.
Charlie Gathers. So Ryan Glunt he's a unique kind of fighter. Let me ask you a question, Drew.
Ask me a question.
Okay. Let's say you're a quarterback for a football team, and I'm your head coach.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, Drew, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run these plays at this time. This is what we're going to make happen. We're getting all amped up about it. Mm-hmm. You get on that field, and I'm not able to call audibles to you. Are you going to be like? I don't think you do as well.
No.
Ryan Glunt fights with a hearing impairment. It's not a handicap by any stretch of the imagination. That man, I've seen that man lay beatings down.
Right.
Ryan Glunt fights with a hearing impairment. He can't hear his corner. So Ryan Glunt has to carry the mental game plan in through him, and he doesn't have anyone who's able to feed that to him. Mm. And I think that's inspiring. If I were to step in the cage, I can't say that I'd be able to fight with the same tenacity that Ryan Glunt does on that same level of playing ground. And I don't know how many people know that about Ryan Glunt. The fact that he's such an adept fighter, and he's working around a hearing impairment, because that is not a handicap for the man. He does not let that keep him down.
No.
And I think that's fantastic. So now he's going to be fighting Jeff Holmes.
Okay.
Okay. Now here's a really unique thing.
What do we know about Jeff Holmes?
Jeff Holmes has a win over Brad Mountain,
and that is one of Glunt's teammates.
It was at one point.
Yeah.
Brad Mountain fought for Team Dignan Broomba. So Jeff Holmes got the win over Brad Mountain, and I hate to digress, but I think that was the one day that one events that kind of shocked me, because I'd never heard a Dignan Broomba fighter get booed in Altoona until Brad Mountain came to the cage at CDMMA 8.
It was a very, very hot crowd that night.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
It was absolutely surreal, so I'd never heard that. So Jeff Holmes goes in the cage against Brad Mountain. Well, Ryan Glunt actually contacted Jeff Holmes to fight that night. Mm-hmm. So now that's kind of a unique relationship. The Altoona fight scene is a little incestuous that way, that you get involved in so many different other things, and interests get crossed, conflicts happen. So now Jeff Holmes has to fight a guy that essentially hired him to fight his teammate. That's just a really unique relationship. But I can't say that any other fighter has had to walk into a cage with a similar situation like that.
It's gonna be interesting to see, and I can't wait for it. I'm looking very forward to May 3rd in Johnstown. Trip back to the Cambria County War Memorial. I believe that's where we're having this.
I think so. No, Ray Palmer sends me an email, and he apparently Gladiators of the Cage is stepping the notch up. I mean, we went to North Shores Rise to Power 2, and it was awesome.
Right.
We go to North Shores Rise to Power 3, it's even better.
We've got North Shores Rise to Power 4 coming up in just a few weeks.
Right. And again, they're gearing up to do even better. So that is what's going to make the return to Johnstown just that much awesome. I thought Complete Devastation in Johnstown was awesome, except for the lack of participation from people who should have been buying tickets.
Right.
Because Johnstown, how many more opportunities are you going to have of MMA coming to your town?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can train UFC bro all you want, but unless you're going to these local fights and supporting, they're not coming to your town. Then you either got to travel to Pittsburgh or come to Altoona. We're bringing it to you. So here's your opportunity to really be that saving grace, Johnstown.
There you go.
So for Cage Wars, I think Ryan Glunt coming back is going to be fantastic. So I'm told that Vicious Inc. will actually have a fight shirt ready for Ryan Glunt. He'll actually be wearing Vicious Inc. gear, which is fantastic. The Ding and Broomba fight team is tighter than ever. I think they've just been really, the Brotherhood is really solidified. They've got each other's back.
I believe they have.
Yes, they have. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Glunt fight.
It's going to be great, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to see that happen on May 3rd. Of course, we've got some amazing fights coming up that we will provide coverage of. We're talking about the fights that we were just mentioning. Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 4, March 15th at Stage AE. Then Pinnacle FC on March 29th.
And I'm not exactly sure on the venue, but I'm looking forward to being there.
I can't wait, because that'll be our first venture into Pinnacle FC, and I cannot wait to see that.
I've had so many people tell me that Pinnacle is just, they're doing great things, and competition in Pittsburgh is fantastic. I mean,
Ethan Goss is on that card, right?
I don't know. I know Rich Canalina is trying to fight Jarrell Hodge, and
I thought Wolverine was on that card.
He's on one of them. Lenny Carlham's coming back.
Yeah,
the King of the Altoona Amateurs is coming to the Steel City. And he's fighting.
So then do we have a month off in April from any fights?
I think so.
Okay, and then we come back in May to Johnstown, May 3rd, at the Cambria County War Memorial for Cage Wars, Gladiators of the Cage Wars. This is going to be, I mean...
Last year was a great year for fights, so I think 2014 is going to be even better.
It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time covering it, and we hope you'll join us. We hope you'll be at these venues as well. If you get a chance to get your tickets and come out to Stage AE, or Cambria County War Memorial, and we'll have the listing of the venue that Pinnacle's in. We should know that, but we're not
so much to remember. We're
not completely professional. I mean, for God's sake. But yeah, plunk down your money, check these out. It's going to be just a fantastic time. You will enjoy it. You will love it. You'll have a blast at all these great live events. Plus, you're supporting,
Oh, absolutely.
Regional. You're supporting mixed martial arts.
You're
That's the important
going to
thing.
see guys who are going to be fighting in the UFC before no time, and the best thing is you get to say, "I saw these guys fight way back when."
On top of that, what the UFC is going to see that Pennsylvania has an interest in mixed martial arts, that the MMA community is really, taking off here in the state. And that
Clark Young's fighting for a title.
And that maybe, just maybe, I mean, we could see UFC at the BJC or, some other larger venue in the state of Pennsylvania. Maybe at Consol Energy Center. Maybe in Philadelphia or, just anywhere.
So, Drew.
Yes.
The UFC bro guys on the internet, the internet in general, there was a question about how Billy Ward versus Ryan Glunt ended. And that sort of controversy is like, hey, here's an opportunity to answer questions and to put things to bed. So for the Cameron Underground, as much as, and I don't want to show a fight where Ryan loses, but on the Cameron Underground we got.
And I was standing here thinking, like, do we really want to show a fight where Ryan loses? But this is his pro debut.
Yeah, and I think we have questions that need to be answered in this fight, and if you've been close to that circle whatsoever, we're not getting involved and putting gasoline on a fire, but I think, we've seen this. And, I mean, this fight was already on the MMA Rundown.
Right.
So we're going to bring it to Cage Nation TV. Ryan Glunt versus Billy Ward. I'm going to show it to you guys again so you'll all know how it ended.
This all takes place at CD MMA 6 in Clearfield, Pennsylvania. It is Ryan's pro debut, and this is the same night, I believe, that he retired, correct?
Yes.
All right.
So Ryan Glunt versus Billy Ward on the Cameron Underground.
Touch of gloves, an excellent show of respect. This is going to be a great welterweight fight. Drew, welcome back to the broadcast booth.
This should be an unbelievable bout, the first of our professional bouts tonight.
Glunt is making his pro debut tonight against the veteran Billy Ward. Oh! Glunt is going right for it, Drew, but Billy Ward is not going down easy.
Ward is a king of the cage veteran. And Glunt, of course, a CD MMA 1 and 2 veteran.
I don't know about you, dude. These guys are coming through the cage. Billy Ward going for a choke attempt early. Ryan Glunt looks like he's in a little bit of trouble.
I'm hoping this cage is reinforced, I'll tell you what.
This is, again, Ryan Glunt's pro debut. This fight came together really short minute. It was supposed to be at 155, Drew, but now they're fighting at welterweight.
All right.
Oh, Drew, if you look closely, Glunt almost has a top-over triangle choke, and I don't think Ward knows it's coming.
Well, you're close enough. I think you pretty much told him.
I didn't think that through.
Yeah, you got to think these things through.
Glunt is looking to finish this fight with all of his limbs. Hoy is doing a great job dominating on the top.
All right, now this is a professional bout. 3 5-minute rounds as opposed to the 3 2-minute rounds we had earlier.
Now the Pro Fights Drew, they're able to strike to the head.
Exactly.
Elbows are legal.
Ward's only professional win was awarded via DQ at King of the Cage 72. I don't know if you covered that or not, but
I didn't. King of the Cage is one of those promotions that are just under the UFC. So for Billy Ward to be fighting here in Clearfield, it's a big deal. And I think Ryan Glunt's very honored that he's making his pro debut against Billy Ward.
all right, if you're Ryan Glunt, what do you do in this position?
Ryan Glunt's doing an excellent job fighting and not giving up. He's looking to improve his position constantly. He's looking for finishing attempts. I think, this is, I don't think Mrs. Glunt's happy to seeing this, but again, Ryan's doing an excellent job fighting and improving his position. Hoy had Billy Ward doing a great job answering it. Looks like Glunt is in a danger of being in a head and arm choke, Drew.
Billy Ward at 6-2-0, Ryan Glunt at 2-1-0.
Now, Zachary Hoy's record reflects a lot of his amateur wins as well. He only does have the one professional win, which was the King of the Cage 72. Both these guys are absolute warriors. Ward's raining down elbows. Glunt is still improving, though. Backdoor escape from Ryan Glunt. Excellent job. Ryan Glunt is going right for the takedown. Oh. Billy Ward raining down some heavy shots, though. Oh. I don't know if the cameras are showing this, Drew, but these Ward elbows are rough. But Glunt is weathering the storm very, very well.
He is. You got to give it to this kid.
Absolutely. Well, all the guys from Dignan Brewbot and all the fight teams that are involved with Complete Devastation, they're just absolute class act warriors.
Most definitely.
I mean, the fight we're seeing right now are two guys who could very well be in the UFC or the Ultimate Fighter anytime very soon. Oh, got some ground
shot to the head.
Ward.
He's trying to protect himself.
Glunt's got to do something bigger, Drew. The
referee is telling him to fight back, otherwise this bout's going to be stopped.
Yeah, it is. Oh, elbows raining down.
Oh, my God. This could be it.
Ryan is trying to block Ward off. He's trying to do anything to get him off, but Ward's strikes are just absolutely lethal. Well, those elbows, Drew, could open up Glunt in a very bad way.
Now, Glunt has got to get up, and I don't know.
He's trying, Drew. He's trying. But those shots are taking a lot out of him.
Just a series of shots to the head. Just pummeling.
Welcome to professional MMA. I know. Oh, no. Rear naked choke.
That's it. He's tapped. That's it.
Oh, man.
Ryan Glunt tapping out. Rear naked choke.
Excellent fight, Drew.
And there you go.
The fight ended by rear naked choke. There's no questioning it. Videotape does not lie, Drew.
That's the way it went down in Clearfield at
CDMMA
6. There's been so many events we've been to. I almost said WCC. I almost said Gladiators of the Cage, but
yeah, we've been there.
It's the group that brought us to the dance, Complete
Absolutely.
Devastation MMA. And have we heard anything about a fight coming up for them?
No. There's scuttlebutt that they're trying to promote in June in Greensburg, which would be fantastic because I absolutely love going to Greensburg to the Kirkes-Nevin Arena.
No, I'm talking about Gladiators, or I'm talking about CDMMA.
No, I've heard nothing.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
I've heard
WCC. I've heard that they want to, Doug and those guys want to come back to Greensburg. And
I've not heard anything about CDMMA, but when it happens, you'll be able to find it out here first.
All right,
because we do that.
We'll keep you posted on all that. So, all right, there you have it. Kind of a different version of the Cage Nation TV. Yeah. Wasn't too bad.
I think there was a lot more deeper MMA content this week.
Most definitely. There's a lot to discuss, I'll tell you what.
Absolutely. So what did you guys think of the new format? Did you like it? Did you want us to go back to the old? What would you recommend? Of course, all this information, just leave with us at all. I mean, I know we're friends with a lot of people on Facebook, but we also have the Cage Nation TV Facebook page. You can leave it on the YouTube comment section.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email. Follow us on Twitter. We're very accessible to be gotten a hold of. So if you guys have comments or suggestions, send them to us.
All right. And that's going to do it for another episode of Cage Nation TV. We'll see you here next week. What do we have on tap next week?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, we'll make it up as we go along.
I'm your elected official, Albert Cameron. Beside me, as always, the Prime Minister of Soul, Drew Shannon. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching Cage Nation TV.
What the hell is this? I don't know what I'm doing.
Anyway,
see you next week.
Let's go!